Catherine, the show is yours.
All right. Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. And thank you so much for tuning in to today's Yellowbrick live stream. Today, we're sitting down with Ray Guzman, aka PR_Sneaks23 on IG, a super well known sneaker personality from Miami, Florida. So if you have any questions for Ray or any comments as we get into it, make sure you drop them in the chat and we'll make sure that we answer them. Before we get started, I'll quickly introduce myself. My name is Catherine. I'm your host with Yellowbrick. I'm from the Six, aka Toronto, Canada, where I work in marketing at Adidas. I also do some freelance consulting on the side, and I own an online vintage shop called Human Goods. And I'm also a Yellowbrick Sneaker School grad, so I'm super excited to be your host today. You can also check me out on Instagram at Catherine Allen too. So Ray, why don't we kick things off with you telling us a little bit about your background and give us a little intro on who you are.
Fantastic. So yeah, again, Ray Ramon Guzman, but they call me Ray. Originally born in Puerto Rico, but lived in Miami for most of my life. So who I am, I'm an individual who loves art, and I love the aesthetic of sneakers and fashion. Besides that, I have two kids. I work in finance. But again, my love is art and in the aesthetic of sneakers and fashion and collecting.
Amazing. And when did you first start collecting?
So I started collecting, and I wanted sneakers. My first love was this pair of Jordans. I used to like Pumas, and I liked Reeboks and Adidas and all these type of awesome shoes. But my mom really couldn't afford it. So when I was in high school, so in middle school, so when I graduated, and I started working, going to college, I started collecting right then. So I would say it was probably around 1997. That's when I really started kind of collecting, getting my sneaker game going, and getting the first pair. And some of those freaks that clean their shoes after they wear them, put them in the
Of
box.
course.
Yeah, so I started with one, two,
Yeah.
4 back in 1997, and it's kept going.
Mhm.
I've had some highs
Mhm.
and lows, meaning I've probably stopped a couple of times for a little bit, just things
Mhm.
going on, personal life, but I never really stopped. I just, paused for a bit
Right.
and kind of kept going.
Mhm. And so you've been in the sneaker game for a while. You mentioned like collecting back in 1997. So what are some of the things that you miss about the sneaker game before? Things are looking a lot different these days.
It is, and that's a running conversation I have with sneaker enthusiasts, either locally or around on Instagram, or we'll meet up in sneaker, events. That's a conversation always that starts up, right? It's so different, right? And it's cool
Yeah.
because it's evolved. But what I miss,
Mhm.
I would say the most is the hunt for the sneaker. It's not that they don't hunt now. You do hunt, but you hunt more than electronic kind of a fashion. There's a lot
Mhm.
of things involved with that. But before you build relationships with sneaker boutiques, different stores, you kind of, if you wanted a pair of shoes, you didn't know if they were going to release at a particular store just like that. It wasn't announced. It
Right.
wasn't electronic. You actually had to go over there and say, hey, look, are you guys going to get this shoe? There's this used to call it 1-800 number called Nike Biz if you went to Nike, or Adidas had a 1-800 number too. And I think Puma had one as well. You call them and they'll tell you the location where the sneaker may be at. And you have to go out there and hunt, catch the bus.
Oh man.
I used to miss all that, and waiting
Yeah.
in line and getting to know, individuals within the culture, especially locally,
Right.
because you got to, just wait in line for the sneaker there. You got to talk about, things you love and the things you like, your passion. So I miss that a
Mhm.
little bit. You don't necessarily have that anymore. It's evolved. It is what it is. But
Yeah.
if you live through those times, you understand how great it was.
Yeah, I definitely miss lining up and the camaraderie that you build with the people in line and the people in front of you and behind. Like, I definitely miss that part. And one of the things that you mentioned was the relationship aspect. And it seems like you've done a really great job of building relationships with brands. There's a bunch of sponsors within your bio as an example, and you have a running relationship with Foot Locker as an example. So, could you speak a little bit about how you started to work with sponsors and what that process looked like?
Absolutely. My story is a little different. I've spoken with different individuals. I mean, I started working within social media in my sneaker game. Really, it just came out as me posting on social media was more of an electronic diary of my sneaker collection. I wanted to showcase to myself here. I forgot that I have these sneakers, and I would post them just
Right.
because of that. Oh, I'll
Mhm.
take a picture, and the pictures 5, 6 years ago were not as probably as crisp or quality like they are now because I've learned,
Mhm.
right. I've gotten
Yeah.
better with that, but
Yeah.
I just take pictures and go through that. And I think that's the way it started. I started taking better pictures of particular sneakers that I would obtain, and and started getting reached out to by Champs. I remember, and it was like, hey, that sneaker picture is awesome. Do you mind if we use it? Of course, that you could definitely use it.
Go ahead.
I remember it was Adidas Ultra Boost. That was the first thing. I used to I love Adidas Ultra Boost. I have a lot of them, right? And you know, I was able to obtain them earlier than the release. So I was able, you know, so I was able to take the picture of them, you know, and they're like, oh wow, I want to use it like to market it.
Right.
And so that started with one, and then it started with two, and I think that started a great relationship with them. You know, it wasn't really, you know, after that they started seeding me stuff. You know, I would always take pictures, you know, of the sneakers and do different things with them. And there you go. They started inviting me to different places and different events, and the Champs and Foot Locker family. That's the, you know, it's a whole thing. But it started with Champs, then it moved over to Foot Locker. In Foot Locker Miami, the Foot Locker Miami team is great as they started developing, you know, different community stores within the kids Foot Locker area and also the regular Foot Locker areas. So, you know, I work with them in different community events. It's not necessarily sneaker related, but it's also giving back to the community in different aspects. It's back to school, if it's Thanksgiving, if it's something, you know, we whenever they ask me, I'm always there because it's one of the big things, you know, about community sneakers, but also community locally, and make sure you give it back.
Tell us a bit more about the Miami community specifically and what that means to you.
The Miami, what I'm sorry, community?
Miami community and Miami sneaker community.
That means a lot to me. It means a lot to me because I started out here with, you know, getting a lot of my friends. I started knowing them from like lining up, you know.
Right.
They're friends of mine now. You know,
Love that.
The kids are growing up. We meet up sometimes, and the kids know each other. You know, and they play with each other. And I met these individuals. You know, all kinds of diverse individuals. You know, from that, and some individuals not even originally from Miami. They just moved to Miami. You know, but they started out with the whole, hey, look, sneakers. You know, meeting up and lining up at different boutiques, or even lining up for raffles at Foot Lockers and Champs. So it means a lot to me because from there you got to know a lot. Like if you see an individual wearing a nice shirt, like, you know, mixed up with their shoes, you know, like, wow, that's cool. Like I didn't realize that, you know, I could wear these like jeans with that or look good with that. So you got to meet individuals and see their fashion taste with their sneakers. And I think I got a lot of you know, knowledge from that. You know, just got to see a group of individuals that I met during those types of events, and I picked up a lot from those individuals. And it's like, wow, you really got to see why is it that they love it, the passion that they have for sneakers and fashion, and still it keeps going because again, at the end of the day, like I said, they're still friends of mine, and I met a lot of individuals throughout. You know, individuals they're still working within the sneaker, you know, the sneaker, you know, community here within within the shoe game. And some are no longer doing that anymore. They do other stuff, but at least I met them in that realm, and we still keep in touch.
That's so awesome. And it sounds like you've done like such a great job of establishing relationships, not only with brands and with people within the community and the store. So good on you for being so ingrained in the community. And I'd love to ask a question for some of our listeners who are looking to also grow their game on Instagram. What kind of tips would you give for taking better quality pictures?
Wow, that's a really good one, you know, and I've learned little by little, but I always my biggest thing is always aesthetics, you know, background, you know, and lighting, right? The lighting is so important, you know. What type, if you're gonna take a picture out there in the sun, outside, right when the sun is beaming, it may not be so, you know, such a great idea. You may lose quality of color, you know. You know, you take a picture early in the morning, your pictures may look bluish. If you take them, you know, sometimes when the sun's going down, they may look orange. You got to have the right timing as when you take pictures, you know, when the lighting is there. A cloudy day is the best day, you know, when the sun's light, you know. So, and going back, so I think lighting is key. Background is is key as well. And then it all depends. Like I take full body pictures and I take sneaker pictures. I always like to showcase my fit, what I'm wearing, you know, and when I do that, make sure the details are there. Make sure you're showcasing what you want to showcase, you know, because your fit's everything, right? It could be your cap, your tee, you know, shorts or jeans, and how they match up with your sneakers. So it's key to make sure that it's not blurry, it's not the colors are on point, and you have enough background, but you're the center point. Remember, that's the key. The center, you have to be, because if there's too much. going on in the background or on the side, then you may lose your audience because they don't, they can't see. You want to make sure that, hey, this is what you're looking at, and you're the centerpiece.
Lighting, details, centerpiece. Really great tips. So thank you, Ray. And friendly reminder to everyone listening, feel free to drop any of your questions or comments for Ray, and we'll make sure that we get to them. So some of the things you mentioned just now, you started talking about like building a fit and some of the different pieces. So what's one of your favorite releases of the year so far?
Wow, favorite releases of the year so far.
Or that you're looking forward to in 2022.
So we're in 2022, right? It just started, right? So I would say that I really haven't had a favorite because it just started. But what I'm looking forward to in 2022, it's they have these the Jordan Fire Reds 3s that they're coming out sometime sometime around the end of November. And I'm big on classics. I'm huge on classics. So any Jordan 3s, 2s, any of those things I love. Anything that has to do with classics, I love. Bring me a good Adidas 4D, I like as well. So anything like the Pumas as well. They release some awesome things as well. But for right now, the year just started. I'm looking forward to that because that's a classic that brings it back to when I was a kid, right? And me wanting that pair and not being able to obtain it. So that's what happened. So a lot of the classics I wasn't able to obtain when I was younger. So now that I'm older and I work and stuff like that, I'm always when a classic comes out, I have to obtain, I have to grab it and take care of it as well, so it doesn't go bad on me.
Definitely appreciate that. And speaking of classics, we have a question here from Emily. If you could only wear one pair of sneakers for the rest of your life, which one would you choose?
Wow, that's a great question, Emily. So I would say the Air Jordan 1 Red will be the one that I will wear all the time. It's because you could just put it on with anything, and anything you want, black pants, blue jeans, doesn't matter, shorts, whatever the case may be. And I think I do that now. I have several sneakers, and my Air Jordan Red is the one that takes the beating because I always put it on. And I have a low top. I have several different versions of them, but I have the regular high top and the regular low top, and I interchange this all the time. Sometimes my friends are like, "You have a bunch of other sneakers. Why do you wear these?" Well,
always come back. Yeah, it's the one you like. You mentioned you have lows, you have highs. How do you feel about Jordan mids?
Wow, that's a strong question right there. I do not like Jordan mids. How about that? Yeah. I go back and forth with people all the time. I get a lot of hate because some people love. I love lows. I love lows. Now they're hot, right? At one point, lows were not hot. I have all the OG lows from before. Oh, your lows, those are horrible. I love them. But mids, going back to your question on mids, I do not like. Now, I have mids. So I do have some. I have some because, first of all, I'm big on aesthetics and quality, right? So if that mid came out with a quality that's just amazing, and there's something about it, the storytelling within the shoes, it's big for me. So storytelling huge. The storytelling was great, then for me, I'm like, all right, great. I'm good with that. But just on regular releases, on whatever, I'm not a big fan. I just don't know.
Well, I'll definitely come back to the idea of storytelling in a minute, but want to answer Manuel's question because goes back to what you were speaking, our conversation about taking good pictures. So Manuel asked, at what time of the day is better to take those pictures?
Absolutely.
Like, what time would you recommend?
Best time to take a picture is depending on where you live, but around the 5:30, 6 o'clock time. Beautiful time. Around there, 5:30, 6 o'clock, 6:30. Sometimes depending, like when the sun's going down, you can see on my feed on PR Sneaks 23 on Instagram. Look at some of my feeds that you'll see some sneaker pictures that have some sun on the background. That's because the sun's about to go down, but it's not all the way up. So you could still get, good quality on that picture. That one's okay. You may have to mess with the filters a little bit because your picture may come out a little bit orange. So you may have to, bring down the color a little bit, but you can get some nice quality pictures on that as well. But I would say for the best quality, cloudy or the sun's covered, right? Or timing wise, like I suggested, around the 5:30, 6 o'clock time frame. That's the best time.
5 to 6:30. Appreciate that. Thank you. And you're lucky you're in Miami. You have great lighting pretty much all day. Sun's setting a little faster out here.
Yeah, we do. It's just it's hard. Like if you want to take a picture during the middle of the day, sometimes friends go, "Hey, you want to go shooting?" Right? That's a big thing, you know. Hey, you got nothing to do? Want to go shooting? Or just take sneakers, put them in a backpack. You know what I'm saying? Get a backpack here, put the sneakers inside, and we just go out. Right? We'll find some nice background. But you'll go to Wynwood. Wynwood over here has a lot of graffiti art in the background. You get some nice backgrounds with the pictures. We go out, but it's difficult because if the sun's blasting. You know, now if you're a photographer professionally and stuff like that, you have a softbox, then it's not gonna matter as much because the softbox is gonna, dilute that lighting. So if you have that, then that's fine. You know what I'm saying? So I have that. So at the end of the day, I could do that. It works out for me, but not everyone has a softbox.
Right. So appreciate that. And that question was from Manuel. He also said, "I'm proud of you, Ray. You're his inspiration." So shout out to you, Manuel. Appreciate the words of support.
Thank you.
So want to keep going with some of the audience questions we have here. So one question, I want to start a sneaker show on a YouTube account at my local sneaker stores in my state. I was wondering what's the best way to go about it, and when it comes to asking the sneaker store if they want to collab, especially as a female.
Wow, that's a great question because I actually was doing that at one point and I never went through with it. So I have some experience with that as well. Yeah. So I think the first part is really authentically collaborating and talking to these sneakers stores, like these leaders of the sneaker stores. They want, before they take you serious, they want to make sure what's your reasoning? What do you want to do? And be authentic in your approach, at the end of the day, because that's key. Building relationships is key because if you have that, then once you want to do something like that, then it's cool. Like I had those relationships. So when I started, what I wanted to do, as an example, is I wanted to go to the back of the sneaker store, right? That's the best because that's where you see the sneakers, right? You can't go, you can't have access to that as a normal person. But if you're cool with them, like, hey, great, come up to the back. And I was able to film, they have, and it was just awesome for your audience. So going back to that question it's really just, building that type of relationship and explaining to the stores and the leaders what you want to do, conveying that and explaining, hey, look, also what is in it for them, and the exposure is in it for them as well, because you're going to be like showcasing them as well. And that's also cool. You may start it up, but they understand where you're coming from and they're bought into your conviction of what you want to do. I think you have a better chance because they know, hey, look, you're not going to do that for like a week or two, get bored and not do it anymore. Why would they be part of that? They're investing time in it. They're letting you in. They want to see you really want to do it. You're serious about it. It's like a resume or like an interview. Showcase and sell yourself what you want to do. And I'll bet you anything you're going to get individuals that listen to you, because all you want to do is them to really listen to you, right? And then if you sell that, just like an interview, you'll get the job. You'll get the gig.
Yeah. That's key. Authenticity is definitely key, and showing that you're truly invested, and can really get them to believe in you as well. So appreciate that.
I know a lot of, for example, in a lot of sneaker boutiques, I'm still friends with a lot of individuals that own these boutiques or have been part of it. I may not even visit them and even ask for anything. It's just I'm friends. I just spoken to you so many times, So there's times I just hit them up. Hey, what's going on? And be authentic about your approach, And I think that's key, because when you're doing that, then you're integrated into the community. And the community, when you give back to integrated, the community gives back to you, which includes the stores and includes everyone else, So it's key.
Yeah, giving back is key and always comes back in some way. So appreciate that for sure.
Absolutely.
Next question I'd like to ask you is any upcoming brands that we should keep our eyes on?
Brands, keep your eyes on. I would say yes. I mean, I think there's definitely brands that you want to keep your eyes on. We already know your Nike and Adidas and Pumas, Asus. I love all that. But like there's up and coming small brands as well. There's a brand called Sandviper. They're pretty like I said, they're focusing a lot on apparel and sneakers within the athletic community. But they're really working on building fashion athletic type of sneakers as well. And they're honing in on a lot of that stuff. So I will say go to sandviper.com and check them out and look at some of their stuff from an athletic standpoint and also sneaker standpoint. They're really branching out, getting to the fashion area. So that's huge as well. I would say from a, you know, I don't know, is it sneakers or just fashion, you know? But you know, I'm big on local brands as well, you know. So I'm big as that. This tee right here is from a brand called Florida Vibes, you know, and here's the logo, Florida Vibes. So you
Love that.
know, that's a brand, up and coming brand. I mean, they just put out a lot of cool, you know, tees with different logos and stuff like that, or just, you know, to kind of get creative, like you see over here with the Marilyn Monroe. So that's another, from a fashion standpoint, that's a brand that I would say keep your eye on as well. You know, up and coming. You know, New Balance never leaves. It's not an up and coming brand, but you notice how you like you forget about New Balance until a year comes down, and you know everyone wants to wear New Balances. So they never leave because the quality that they put out their sneakers are always fantastic. You know, so yeah, it's not like a brand new brand, but I always keep your eye on New Balance for 2022. They made a big splash in 21, if you notice, and I think they're about to as well, you know, from that standpoint. So I think those are the probably brands that I would say, you know, for me, you know, Fear God I wear, but you know, that's always, they have their niche already. It's ingrained, you know, it's already there. But there's some brands that go up and down, and there's some new brands like Sand Viper, Florida Vibes that I will say, hey, look, you know, take a look at it. Don't forget about them as well. You know, it's another brand that's coming up, which is strange. And again, for individuals who are older, they're called cross colors, and they were around in the 90s. They're around the 90s, right? And they were huge. And now they're back. They're back. They have a lot of different cool apparel stuff, and they sell them at Foot Lockers and Champs. So check them out. They have very, you know, awesome stuff from a fashion standpoint. I'm always big at trying something different, you know, but I don't go too crazy. I'm big on white tees, different kind of aesthetics with the bottoms and stuff like that. But their stuff is not as crazy as it was back in the 90s. It's a little bit more toned down. So I think that again, a lot of individuals will appreciate it, you know, for tees and also shorts, apparels that match your sneakers.
Well, appreciate all these names you just dropped. Definitely have some brands to check out. One thing you mentioned is New Balance has definitely been killing it when it comes to collaborations, and I think that definitely helped propel them in the past year or so. But curious, what has been your favorite sneaker collaboration as of late?
Wow, I'm big on sneaker collaborations.
Yeah, collabs are everything, man.
Yeah, you know what? And I think the reason why, for the most part, right? So I'll say more in the most part. I know there's some exceptions. It's because usually when there's a collab, quality is number one, right? With the collaboration, and I'm huge on quality. I love quality. Quality. I'm just a big stickler for quality. Sometimes the color of the shoes, like, are not even that great, and I buy them because of the quality. And I look at it and I'm like, I'm gonna wear it, but the quality is
for the detail, the quality,
quality is huge. So you know, I think my you know, Ronnie Fieg with Kith and all his collaborations are always on point, you know, for me, you know. So I just got the latest Aces with the salmon toes. So the salmon toe is amazing. That is basically a 10-year anniversary from the release of the Gel Light 3, Aces Gel Light 3. So they did a Gel Light 5, right? And he added that salmon toe, which is a very unique and popular colorway that he had on the Gel Light 3 on the Gel Light 5, right? So he had a leather back as well, which is that's the name of the shoe. 10 years ago, he released a leather back. It was a Gel Light 3. He released it in the Gel Light 5. That's a collaboration with Ronnie Fieg. That's awesome. You know, it's crazy we lost Virgil, but I was always a big fan of any of the Virgil, you know, collaborations, or even just his regular Off-White stuff. I have a bunch of Off-White sneakers that are not collaborations, just because they're so cool, they're so different, they're so just out there, you know. And you know, I don't know what that's going to look like. I know there's still some releases coming with that. I know there's a Louis Vuitton. You know, it's not really a collaboration, but it's a Louis Vuitton Virgil kind of design, and it's going to be collaborating with Nike, so it's a collaboration with Nike. So that's as well. You know, Bad Bunny and I know his next Adidas collaboration. I'm looking forward to that. So you know, it's crazy. I'm from Puerto Rico, and I haven't been able to obtain a Bad Bunny Adidas shoe at all.
I work at Adidas, and I haven't been able to obtain a Bad Bunny Adidas shoe either. It's crazy.
It's so because the first release, like, friends from Puerto Rico's were like, it's nearly impossible, and like, someone hook me up or help me, you know. So but yeah, so I haven't been able to really obtain one. I'm gonna get one eventually in second market, you know. So I'll do it, you know. So but I haven't been able to like really do that. But I'm looking forward to the new one. I saw some details on what the next release is gonna look like, and I'm really excited about that as well. So that's a collaboration I'm looking forward to. I know that J Balvin is also releasing something with Jordan coming up very soon as well. That's going to run in family sizing, so that's great because
Yeah.
my kids, I'll be able to get my kids some of that stuff as well.
Right.
So
Yeah.
some stuff like that, like I'm looking forward to. Those are the ones that stick out right now from a collaboration standpoint.
Definitely lots of exciting collaborations to look forward to in 2022, and the family sizing is an interesting one as well. It must be awesome to like match with your kids when there's an opportunity to. So fire.
I love family sizing when I could get that. Like I know that I'm a big Adidas Yeezy Boost 350 V2s, 700 as well. And at first there was no family sizing for that, and then so now they have that. So when the Wave Runners came out, the 700 Wave Runners, oh, I got it for everyone. You know what I mean? Like they outgrew them. Obviously, I kept them because they're so small. You know what I mean?
Little box.
The Wave Runners. I think that was the first family sizing 700s. So that's awesome. Recently, I've been able to get them some of the 350 V2s because they usually come out, like I said, in family sizing as well. So that's also great. So I love that. Whenever I could get family sizing, I don't get them everything because they destroy all their shoes so quick. But some of the stuff, now that they don't grow them as quick because they're 6 and 4, but before, when they're at 2, 3, they outgrew their shoes quick. You wear them 1 time, 2 times, and that's it. I love family sizing because of that. You get the opportunity to wear your matching kicks with your kids.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And we have time for just a few more questions here. So here's one question. What are your thoughts on women and the sneaker culture overall?
Man, that's such a beautiful question. I love it. And I think that a lot of the brands, maybe back in 2014 and 15, didn't open up that the sneakers or sneaker branding or fashion as much as they're opening up now. But the fact that that's going on and it's huge. You see Jordan puts a lot of emphasis now, a lot of their Jordan shoes on women's, and I collect a lot of them too. I know women hate me for that. I fit into them, but they're beautiful. So I'm a big on the aesthetics piece of them. So I have a lot of women exclusives because I'm a size women's 12, 10 and a half, so I'm able to do that. But I think that again, I see a lot more women kind of really going out there and showcasing what they have in the sneaker community from a brand ambassador standpoint, from just influencing the culture. It's just not to women in general influencing the culture itself, and that's what's huge because it's like sometimes it's like, oh, it's division. No, don't call it division. It's the fact that just she's a woman and it's an individual that is influencing the brand, and you can see what she's sporting, and hey, it looks awesome. Anyone could also do that as well. I think that's huge. And I think from a branding standpoint, fashion and sneakers, I just feel like in 2022 we're going to see even a bigger impact from a women's culture. Out there. I think you started seeing in 2020 and 21 you saw it, but 2022 the impact's going to be even larger. You've seen it. You've seen it already with a lot of designers being able to taking roles or larger roles within the sneaker brands, even Foot Locker and stuff like that. You see that coming out, but I think right now you'll see a lot more of it because that's just leading the way and saying, hey, look, it's at the end of the day gender shouldn't play a part. I think it should just be one kind of dimension on every. As long as you're fly and as long as you know what you're doing and you're showing out there and you influence it in a positive way, you should be counted on, and we should take you serious.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. And shoes are shoes, everyone can wear them, and definitely seen a lot of progress. And I totally agree with you. I think 2022 will be a huge year for women in sneakers.
Absolutely.
And we got one more question here from our chat. What are your thoughts on backdooring from famous sneaker boutiques and the impact that it has on sneaker culture?
Wow, that's a loaded question. We'll be here for another 20 minutes talking about that, right?
High level.
Yeah. So that's huge. I think that backdooring has always gone on, right?
Yeah.
So I think that even back when we were talking about my heyday, when we used to sit out there, remember, and wait in line to get your sneakers, they were backdooring then too. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it now has become a lot more prevalent now. Just because, and I think it's not even as prevalent as it was 19 in 2020. I think right now what's crazy is the sneaker body, where they buy shoes with electronic bots online.
Bots.
They take all the inventory, right?
Yeah.
That's huge, besides to the backdooring. But the question is backdooring, so let's stay on that topic. But I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it at all. I wish that everything was just fair and concise. I wish raffles were fair and concise. We're just, you go there, you put in your name for it, and then you get called out if you're lucky, and that's it. Doesn't matter who you are. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Honestly, I'm sorry to kind of disappoint. It is what it is. That's definitely that's going to happen for various reasons, which I'm not going to get into. But those sneaker stores, I think, have to eat, and sometimes they just do it. They have to do it. Sometimes greed takes into place. Sometimes it's not greed. Sometimes it's, hey, they're doing it to survive. You know what I mean? Just because I've spoken to some of them, it doesn't mean I agree with it. I do not. I wish everything was just kind of like, a fair kind of game, but it's not what it is. That's why I always say you got to do your homework with sneakers. I was able to obtain sneakers a lot easier before because I did my homework and went out there. Now it's more difficult. Look, we just talked about the Bad Bunnies that I want, right? No, I can't get them. They sell out, they get bought. It is what it is. So you get a loss, you move on to the next one. And sometimes people say, well, then you have to buy it in the second market for a lot more. Well, you don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to. Yeah. If you want to, that's what happens to me. Sometimes I just have to do it because I want to do it because I need that sneaker that I wasn't able to obtain. But no one's forcing my hand on. You know what I mean? Yes. Now there was, before that didn't happen. There wasn't a secondary market. The retail was 150 plus tax, and that's what it was. If you didn't get it at 150, which you probably would have been able to get it because it wasn't that crazy. It is what it was. Now it's like, hey, look, it sells out. It was 150 5 minutes ago. Now it's $300. And it is what it is. It's part of what the sneaker culture is at the moment and where we've gotten to. I don't think it's ever going to revert back. Do I wish it was back to 2012, 13 levels, 14 levels? Yeah, I think a lot of us do, right? But things have changed. There's cryptocurrency now. There wasn't cryptocurrency back in 2010. So it's just, you gotta understand that we just have to, I always tell friends and individuals, you can get upset about it, but you have to now understand, how do I evolve? How do I, now if I can't do that anymore, or it's not as easy as it was for me before, then what do I do now to continue obtaining the sneakers that I want to obtain? It may not be as easy, so we have to figure out methods and ways how to do that now, because it's supply and demand. Nike, they're releasing the sneakers, but now a lot more individuals are into sneakers. It's more in than it was before. Before there was a sneaker community, it was small. Now it's just it's out there. It's everyone is part of it. And online it's a big piece of this. It's not only backdooring. So anyway, that's what I think of it. It's loaded question. It's a lot of discussion.
A lot of layers.
But a lot of layers behind it, I'm not a fan of it at all. Never been a fan of it, but I don't go crazy about it either, because what are you gonna do? You have to figure out a way how to maneuver your way around obtaining, what you want. And sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's too high of a price for you to pay. You just have to say, you have to know how to say, you know what, move on to the next one.
You got to be willing to take the L at the end of the day. They are just sneakers.
We're all gonna take it out.
We all got to take it out at some point. I'll go take it out at some point. Well, Ray, really appreciate the conversation. This has been so great. Appreciate everyone for dropping your questions and comments. But that brings us to the end of our chat today. So Ray, thank you so much for your time. Really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.